Have you ever wondered about the truth behind the origins of Black people according to the Bible? Well, you're in for quite the journey today. This isn't just another history lesson. It's a voyage back in time, a revelation that might just change the way you see the world, and especially the good book itself. First off, let's dig deeper into the biblical notion of ethnicity. It's fascinating, really, when you start peeling back the layers of how the Bible addresses the concept of people groups. Unlike today's society, which often fixates on skin color as a primary identifier, the Bible had a whole different take on what makes us us. First off, the Bible places a hefty emphasis on lineage. That's your family tree, who your ancestors were. Think of it as the Bible's version of Ancestry.com, but without the need for a DNA test. Your lineage determined a lot, from your social standing to your tribe. And tribes were like the original social networks, minus the internet and hashtags. Then, there's language. Ever tried reading the Bible in its original Hebrew or Greek? It's a reminder that language is more than just words. It's a culture, a way of thinking, and a way of life. The Tower of Babel story is the perfect example. When God confused the languages, it wasn't just about making people talk funny. It was about creating distinct groups with unique identities, all through the power of language. Location plays a massive role too. Where you were from wasn't just about geography, it was about identity. Living in Jerusalem meant something different than living in Rome or Corinth. Your location influenced your culture, your beliefs, and even the food you ate. These biblical distinctions have profound implications. The Bible keeps hammering home the message that we're all part of the same human family. Remember the genealogies, those long lists of names that most of us skip over when reading? They're not just there to test our pronunciation skills. They're a reminder of our interconnectedness, tracing humanity back to common ancestors and emphasizing our shared lineage. This biblical perspective challenges us to rethink how we view ethnicity and race today. According to Scripture, every human being in the world right now comes from the same family tree. We are the descendants of Noah. So, the idea of racial superiority and inferiority in the world is a concept straight from the pits of hell. Black people are thought to have originated from Ham, one of the three sons of Noah, and his lineage is closely linked to Africa, a continent rich in diversity and history. Ham's children, notably Cush and Mizraim, often identified with ancient Egypt, are central to understanding this connection. Cush is traditionally associated with the regions that are now Ethiopia and Sudan. Mizraim, on the other hand, is a name that ancient texts often use to refer to Egypt. This connection isn't just a minor footnote in biblical genealogies. It's a major plot point in the narrative of human history, according to the Bible. The significance of Ham's descendants being linked to Africa brings up an interesting point about skin color and the diversity within Noah's own family. If Ham is considered the progenitor of many African peoples, it suggests a level of diversity within Noah's family that might challenge some of our modern assumptions about race and ethnicity. It's a bit of a head-scratcher, isn't it? If all humanity spread from Noah's sons after the flood, the variety in skin color and physical features we see today must have been present in potential from the very beginning. Now, let's connect the dots to the Tower of Babel, another pivotal moment in the Bible. When God scattered people across the earth and confused their languages, this wasn't just about causing a bit of chaos. It was about spreading humanity far and wide, ensuring the earth would be filled with a tapestry of cultures, languages, and peoples. The descendants of Ham, with their roots deeply embedded in Africa, were part of this grand scattering. This moment set the stage for the incredible diversity we see across the African continent, from the ancient civilizations of Egypt to the rich cultural tapestries of Ethiopia and Sudan. The scattering at Babel has a direct line to how African countries relate to the genealogy in the Bible. Ethiopia, for instance, is often mentioned in biblical texts, highlighting its significant role in ancient history. This isn't just about geography. It's about recognizing the contributions and presence of African peoples in the biblical narrative from the earliest times. But then, there's the curse of Ham. Oh, the number of times this story has been twisted to fit all sorts of narratives. This part of the Bible has been twisted in ways that have led to some pretty harmful beliefs, especially regarding black people. So, what's the real deal with this curse? And who was Canaan in this story? And then, there's the whole issue with Schofield and his take on this. Let's break it down. First up, the curse of Ham isn't really about Ham at all. I know, mind-blowing, right? The story, found in Genesis, goes like this. Noah gets drunk, ends up naked in his tent, and Ham sees him. Ham tells his brothers, Shem and Japheth, who then cover their father without looking at him. When Noah finds out what happened, he curses Canaan, who is Ham's son, not Ham himself. The curse says that Canaan will be a servant to his brothers. Here's where things get tricky. Over time, some folks started saying this curse was the reason for the enslavement of black people, claiming they were descendants of Ham and, by extension, Canaan. But here's the thing. The Bible never says anything about race or skin color in this story. The curse was specifically on Canaan, and it was about his lineage being servants, not about an entire race of people being destined for slavery. Now, Canaan. Who was this guy, and why was he cursed? Canaan is listed as one of Ham's sons, and his descendants are thought to have settled in the region that later became known as Canaan, the land right smack in the middle of many significant biblical events. The curse, in essence, was more about the territorial and relational dynamics among these ancient peoples, not a divine mandate for racial oppression. Enter Schofield. Cyrus Schofield, in his Schofield Reference Bible, took some liberties in interpreting this story. He suggested that the curse was evidence of God's divine order for races, implying that black people were inferior. Rubbish. This interpretation, frankly, was way off base and has been debunked by numerous theologians and biblical scholars. It added fuel to the fire of racial prejudice, using the Bible to justify segregation and discrimination. The problem with Schofield's interpretation is manifold. First, it reads into the text something that simply isn't there. The Bible, as we've noted, doesn't discuss race in the way we understand it today. The curse on Canaan was about a specific historical and familial situation, not a blanket statement on the destiny of peoples based on skin color. Moreover, understanding the Bible requires looking at the context, culture, and language of the time it was written. When modern prejudices are projected onto ancient texts, the result is a distortion of the message. The story of Noah and his sons is a complex narrative about human behavior, consequences, and divine justice, not a primer on race relations. And the interesting thing is that some of the most significant figures in the Bible had close connections to Africa and people of African descent, which puts to bed the rubbish of racial superiority. For instance, Moses, a central figure in the Bible, has profound connections to Africa. His wife, Zipporah, was Ethiopian. This fact alone challenges the often Eurocentric depictions of biblical characters and underscores the geographical and ethnic diversity present in these stories. Joseph's story further illustrates this diversity. Sold into slavery and ending up in Egypt, Joseph rose to become the second most powerful man in an African kingdom. His marriage to Asenath, an Egyptian, and his interactions with the people there highlight the interwoven lives and cultures of Africans and Hebrews. His children, Ephraim and Manasseh, became part of what is known as the 12 tribes of Israel. Moreover, the Queen of Sheba's visit to King Solomon showcases a meeting of minds between two powerful and wealthy regions, further emphasizing the significant roles Africans played in biblical history. The Queen of Sheba, who is believed to have come from modern-day Ethiopia or Yemen, brought riches and wisdom to Jerusalem, symbolizing the mutual respect and admiration between these cultures. These examples only scratch the surface of the diversity present in the Bible. The inclusion of people from different lands, such as the Moabite Ruth or the Canaanite Rahab, in the lineage of Jesus himself, speaks volumes about the Bible's acknowledgement of diversity and the interconnectedness of humanity. And in the end, what truly matters is how the Bible sees us, made in God's image, equal in his eyes, irrespective of race or ethnicity. This profound truth reminds us that our value doesn't come from our external attributes, but from our inherent worth as creations of God and recipients of his love. What do you think? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification icon for more content just like this. Until next time.